Well, hi, good morning, and thanks so much for joining me here in my shop. I'm just going to start work on this radio here today, this very cold and sunny day. Beautiful day outside. So this happens to be my radio. I own this one. I don't really know anything about it. I acquired this roughly a year ago, and it is sat waiting for me to bring it in the shop, and here it is, my first chance to really work on it. So this is my favorite kind of radio, this size and scale and age of radio. This is my favorite for working on. So I really have no idea of its condition other than what you can see right now. Other than when I purchased it, I was told it works. I purchased this as part of a lot of radios. The vast majority of those radios have gone through my shop and have gone on their way already, but this one's going to stay with me. I'm going to hang on to this guy because I really like the look of it, especially these very odd buttons sticking out here. So the way we're going to approach this is first a really careful examination. I'm not likely to start this radio up until I've really gone over it quite carefully. I want the result from my efforts on this to come out really good. I want this to come out really nice. So that probably involves replacing the cloth here. This is actually pretty good. Often when you have a radio with cloth in the front like this, especially in the corner, people have grabbed the radio and stuck their fingers into it and they've jammed it back. Usually this is backed with cardboard, so one good punch and it's forever dented. But this one's actually come out pretty good, other than it's dirty. It's lost its, I'm sure it was a nice goldy color when it was new, but it's just totally dirted up. So this radio's got all of its knobs. It's got a magic eye. It has a plastic window here that it's bent here, but it's looking a lot worse than it is because it's covered with, it's got dirt on the back side of it, some kind of staining on the back side of it. You can see the name of the radio there, Serenader. Serenader is a common name for radio, so there's lots of Serenaders out there. This particular radio is made by a company here in Ontario called Electrohome. Electrohome is a very well-known brand name here in Canada, and a lot of these Electrohome had a big plant in I think it's Kitchener or Waterloo area of Ontario, so there's a good chance that's where this radio came from. There are also cabinet makers in Kitchener, and so the two of them work together. The electronics manufacturer and the cabinet makers work together to produce these fantastic things. Really cool. So it's a two-band radio, AM band and a shortwave band. A very long shortwave band starts at around 5.5 megahertz, goes up to 17 or so. Radios have a hard time, especially this vintage, operating much above 15 megahertz. So you're not likely to find a radio of this age going much higher than 17. Even 17 is a bit of a stretch. So all in all, it's in really good shape. The top of it is not all stained and scratched, and nobody's put, the classic plant on here and then overwatered it. It's really in good shape. It's got a bit of a dry out crack here. Not much you can do about that. Same sort of thing happening here, but what can you do about that? I don't think you can do anything about that. This side looks great. Wonderful. Let's look in the back now. What's back here to be seen? Well, I've already had a glance in here last night when I brought this radio in, and but only a glance. So what do we got here? So this must be antenna and ground. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these away. Both of these away. Because I think they're only going to be in the way while we're working on the radio. The power cord, this is clearly not the original power cord. It has a polarized plug on it, but it's probably not important at all because it's got a big transformer in it. That's another reason why I like working on these radios. The small, simple 5-tube radio comes with a hot chassis concern. A radio like this, with a big transformer, doesn't have the same concern. The thing about this though is that this will produce a pretty high B+, so I'll bet you it's running around 300 volts or so in here. Now if we look at the tube lineup, and I've been studying the schematic already, I've actually got ahead on this a little bit, but in here we can see the, what's it say up here, 6-tube standard and short wave band AC operated super heterodyne receiver with automatic volume control. 9A62-S. That's this radio. Z9A62D, that's a different radio. That's a radio you can plug a phono into. You can't with this one. There's no phono input. Wave band switch. This is just naming the different controls that are sticking out the front. And the buttons are called automatic unit buttons. Automatic unit buttons. Volume control on off switch. So the tubes, if you look, 6A8, 6Q7, 6F6, that's the output tube, 6K7. So if we just add the letter S in here, these tubes all sound really familiar. 6A8 becomes 6SA8, 6SQ7, 6SK7. So what this is a radio from the early 40s, 1940s, 1941 I think this was built. And at that time, the tubes that were available at that time were the older style tubes. They're just about to be revised. You see all these grit caps here? So that marks an older vintage of tube. The same tube, like a 6A8 with the S in there, 6SA8 means single-ended. The cap disappears, there's more pins on the bottom, and it changes from an octal to a loctal type tube. Now, that's interesting. What's that guy doing there? So there's a metal tube here, which I suspect is a replacement tube. The original one, probably not metal. Here's another. So this is the output tube, almost certainly back here. It's in the dark. It's also all metal. I'm pretty sure it's a 6F6, so this is a replacement tube also. This certainly looks like a replacement tube. This doesn't look at all like the right vintage. This looks more like it's out of the 50s. What's in here? 5Y4. Now, just because it looks a certain way doesn't mean it is. 5Y4. 5Y4 is the right tube. Okay, so even though, well, it could be a newer looking version of like a replacement, but it's got all of its tubes. And interesting too is if you look in the back here by the tuning capacitor, I wonder what is this stuff here. So these things are related to these push buttons. Let me push one. It's quite a mechanical little scheme going on here. These knobs I'm pushing also rotate, and they appear to rotate into a lock position. Now, in terms of getting this radio out, somebody has dropped a screw down from the top. That's unusual. Usually these radios are bolted up from underneath. Screwed down from the top. Did not come all the way through. Yeah, this is where they should be done. Oh, there's a note under here. 20 restring. Restring? Restring? I think it says it. I thought I saw the pointer move. Okay, so it looks like we just removed these two screws. We'll figure out what's going on. See, I think these two rivets indicate there's a piece under there for the screw to go on. Why would I have these brackets out here also? Okay, we'll sort that out. So I'm going to bring the radio out of the cabinet. It's got really long speaker wires. I can leave the cabinet somewhere nearby in case we want to operate it. And how good are these wires? So look, they've been extended. So the extension tape here, all tape down here. These are all just feel terrible in this plug. Wow. So that's probably to make it easier to have the chassis out of the cabinet and yet leave the speaker behind in the cabinet and plug them together. It's probably why there's such an enormous amount of wire here. And is that really the original speaker? That probably is. Probably is. Okay, gotta get the knobs off the front. Pretty sure. Looks like these knobs will just go right through and disappear out the back. They have a magic eye up here that no doubt has wires going to it that I have to do something with. And all these knobs are screw-on knobs. Let's get them off. Oh boy, is that ever tight? There we go. That's pretty tight. Just the fact that it has all of its knobs is a great thing right there. Now, as a shortwave listening radio, this is not all that good because it does have this band that covers such a huge range. So this isn't going to be the greatest shortwave receiver. Now, get those screws out. Get my gun in there. Looks like there's a metal underplate here. It doesn't seem to be lined up, so I think it's just laying there. Okay, radio. Now the eye. So like something somebody added. Looks like not the original locking piece here. What's going on there? Oh, so they have a nut and a screw. So they have the incorrect. That's interesting. Why would they not have the right stuff? So they've kind of jury-rigged this with a screw too long and then a nut to take up the excess screw. I wonder, well, I shouldn't say too much. I lose screws in my shop too. So, masking tape on it. 40% is what it says. So somebody's put this into a tube tester, probably an emissions tube tester, and it's come up 40%. That doesn't make sense actually, because you don't actually test these in an emission tester. You put them in a tube tester and light them up and look at them. Anyway, we'll find out more about it as we go. Hopefully that's a good tube, even if it's 40%. Are we ready? So something to grab onto here. Yep, it's coming out. Now, once in a while, there's some attachment going on way up here back into the cabinet, but not in this radio. But in those cases, you can get the radio part way out before you realize you're making a mess of things. Let's push the cabinet this way. Bring it up. Okay, now put this up in here. Funny sound like there's something dragging underneath this radio. There's paper under here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Is it paper or is there some kind of asbestos thing going on? What's happening here? Okay, I'm going to tip this up I want to tip it this side down. This bracket sticking out, wheels in the way. Tip it this way, this bracket's a problem. Wow, this is a problem. This radio's a problem. Okay, let's take the speaker out. I'm not about to operate it, so let's take this out. Okay, now I can get rid of the cabinet. Look at this ugly thing here. There's another screw in here. What's this? What's that? And there's another screw back here laying around. There's another somewhat flattened piece of stuff here. Okay, we're ready now to flip this radio. First I'm going to get rid of the cabinet. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, easy does it. This transformer hanging right out over the edge. Pick the cabinet up, radio heads for the floor. We don't want that to happen there. That's a little better. Okay, here we go. Ah, the cabinet's surprisingly heavy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, now we got a little more space here. So I can lay this on its back. Should be a good way to do it. Cord will be in the way a bit, but that's okay. It's the only way. What to grab onto? Grab onto the power transformer. Whoa. Da 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 da. What is underneath here? A piece of paper. Well, that's a first. I've never seen a piece of paper underneath a radio like this. So you have a piece of paper, then they have a metal plate coming up. It's back in the cabinet. So is the guess here, this was a last attempt to try to prevent anything from inside the radio falling down and touching that plate. Uh-oh. I'm not the first guy to come here. That's for sure. It's amazing this is still in the radio. Okay, now my hands are full. This has gone from a fun project to a scary one. Wow, that's an 880. That's an 8 microfarad 450, 10 microfarad 450. And I can't see that one. So, wow. Looks like all the paper capacitors have been replaced. These orange drop ones are probably all perfectly fine. This one might be original. There's a nice one back here. Looks like it's a replacement. Well, wow. So look at the power cord here. It's been changed up to this point and then just taped on. I see this all the time. But the remaining power cord is completely cracked and there's conductor showing all through there. So, and where does it go? It goes up behind. Can't be there. Where's the on-off switch? You know what? This is a replacement. That's the on-off switch. And the power wires, the old ones, work their way all the way over to here. So really need to replace this or extend this all the way over to the switch here properly. Can I turn it on safely the way it is for fun? You probably can. See that this is shorted out anywhere. Okay, so I have some safe ways of turning on stuff like this, so why don't we do that? Let's turn this guy on. Now, power transformer, yeah. Pick it up by the power transformer. So I gotta plug the speaker back in to make this work. The speaker has a field coil in it that's part of the power supply. You plug in the speaker. No chance for the radio to work at all. Take this metal. This is the metal bottom plate here. Was there anything written on it? Nothing. Nothing. So I'm going to try to put the speaker here. Such a darn big deal. Everybody stand back for this. Trying to remember not to put my fingers through the cloth. Okay. This guy goes in hanging down, doesn't he? Is he hanging down? Hangs up. Okay. Speaker connected. Now, to turn something on like this for the first time, you don't have any idea what's going to happen. My guess is it's going to come on, it's going to work. That's my honest guess. But I don't know that. So in the worst case, there's some kind of short circuit in here. Maybe the last guy made a mistake. And as soon as I turn it on, there's a hard short circuit right in the power line. That's very unlikely in a radio like this because the power line basically goes straight to the transformer, nowhere else. So you really have to have a fault right in the transformer, and that's possible too. So to prevent the situation where I'm actually going to energize a dead short somewhere in this radio from, and I'm going to use Niagara Falls to power it, I have a little trick in here called a dim bulb. Everyone's heard me say this many times. There they are, the dim bulbs. So this guy here is a low wattage regular incandescent light bulb, and all the power, depending upon how I set the switches on my panel here, all the power that gets to the radio is going to go through that light bulb on the way. What happens then is some of the power is lost in the light bulb. If the radio is drawing a lot, more power will be lost in the light bulb. The light bulb will glow a bit, and the radio won't get full voltage by any means. A radio like this, a big one like this, with how many tubes? 1, 2, 3, 4, just 5 tubes, 6 tubes. 6 tubes. That doesn't draw all that much current, probably 50, 60 watts, something like that. So we'll probably see that bulb glow a bit. If the bulb comes on really, really bright, then that means there's a short circuit in here, and all the voltage being supplied from Niagara Falls and the Bruce nuclear power plant too will end up in that light bulb, and the light bulb will be very, very bright. This has fallen off here, I just noticed. Is it fallen off, or it actually was loose the whole time? It's too bad there's not much left of this. So we'll take care of this. It's a piece of history now. It's a really curious looking bracket there, and that's for the magic eye. It just doesn't look right. That's okay. It is right. I'm just delaying turning it on, giving myself a chance to catch a mistake before I make it. Okay, let's plug them in. So no power yet. Well, the first thing I want to do is make sure the power switch works properly. So I'm going to turn the radio off. Okay, so it's off. And apply power, and what should happen is basically nothing. That light should not come on, and nothing should happen here. Now I keep my eye peeled on that light bulb when I do this. So next switch, you'll hear the click. So no light. Now we can look at this really handy analyzer plugged into my bench supply. This is 122.6 volts. So I'm going to turn on the radio now. When I turn it on, this will drop a long ways. And the light, it's more interesting to watch the light. The light will come on to some degree. What degree? I don't know. It's in my hand here too. Are we ready? I'm standing on. Okay, here we go. Okay, light's good. Light is good. So you see it's dulling down. It's dulling down because the inrush current in the heaters is dying down. And now it should come up again. If we watch it, getting brighter. Yep, perfect. Okay, the actual voltage reaching the radio now is 90 volts. 90 volts, probably enough to make this guy work. Okay, I can hear a hum coming out of the speaker. What a shame. This radio only has one light bulb. It should have another one over here. Okay, so far so good. Volume up. Volume was up. Volume, not much volume. The speaker's humming, so it must be connected. Maybe this is volume. Maybe this is volume, this is tone. We don't know what band we're on. There's no antenna connected, so a working radio with no antenna like this sometimes is just silent. Supply voltage is still 91 volts on the plug to the radio. So that could be why it's quiet. Let's change bands here. We'll pretend to turn the volume down. Okay, that's probably the AM band this way. Yeah, I think this is volume. Yeah, I think that's tone. This is definitely a replaced control here. So this effect may indicate something about a particular capacitor in the radio. We'll find out later. Okay, let's tune this thing. See if we can get anything with no antenna. Whoa! What was that? What the heck was that? Whoa! Okay, so you know I kind of whipped the magic eye in here without paying much attention to where it ended up. Let me pull it out here. Okay. Should be no problem. That's your 40% magic eye there. Now 90 volts supply is probably causing a very low B+. I can put this over here. Don't worry about that more later, but that was a bit of a disappointing thing. Now it's just possible there is not enough voltage in this radio to make it operate. I can raise it, but the next step up is almost full voltage. Let's look at these buttons in here. I'm just really curious about this whole. See how this guy's got a shell? I think this guy needs one too. And the other, this is a metal clad tube, and this one is too. So they don't need shields, they come with shields. But this one, I think the shield is missing on it. Okay, let's watch this mechanical operation here. I'm going to push it. Look at this. What is going on there? So what it looks like is you would tune the radio. Let's say that's your station. You then, I'm guessing, you push this button to get that kind of tight. Then you lock it. I'm turning the thing now. You lock it. Now, if you turn this back, this will pull it forward. Oh my gosh. So these strips must be very fragile here. These things. They're all in here, but probably because it's hardly ever been used. Ooh, this one doesn't look right over here. There's a whole huge amount. Oh, okay, this one's broken. So the problem with this arrangement, if you think about it, is it's designed to pull it one way. So you have to tune the radio, to the correct side of things, and then push the button to pull it back. But what if it's over here to begin with? You can push this button all you like. There's another cloth strip going underneath. I think we can't see it. So in fact, when you push the button, you're actually tugging on two pieces of cloth, and one underneath and one above. Between the two of them, they will pull this into a fixed position. That's my thinking. Okay, so we don't want to fool much with this because those strips have to be really close to breaking, and I can see one broken. The whole thing's out of place here. If we look now, if I can get my camera over there. You can see the rivet here because this piece has rotated farther than it's supposed to because the underneath part is broken. See? It's a good sensitive radio, but it's got quite a hum coming out of it. Kind of a vicious hum. Vicious. I should really put an antenna on it. It's a really sensitive radio. Wow. Okay, so I also have the volume cranked up full. So I'm going to turn down the volume. And I'm going to attach an external antenna here. So get it. And I'm going to have to run through my house and throw an antenna switch. Because as usual, I was using my antennas for other things last night. I have a ground and I have an antenna. I'm just going to hook up the antenna side of it. Okay, that's blocks the interference. I have to run and throw a switch now, and then I'll just take me about 14.2 seconds. So you may have heard something when I threw the switch. I don't know. So we're going to try it first with the ground not connected to anything. And we think we're on the AM band. I'm going to connect the ground line, the ground side of this.
Something is going on and something might be going wrong with it. We are going to leave it at that, and then I'll let you know. We are going to open up the phone lines and give you an opportunity, as Chris said, to respond to that. How do you feel about Doug going on the two cars on Easter? And he told everybody. Coming up next, we are going to talk to a guy who has put together an e-commerce platform for farmers. Yeah, the farmers market, you may not be able to go to it. It might come.
So all I'm going to get up here is noise up high here. So that's not bad. Let's try the shortwave band. Same antenna. Shortwave. Now it's only 10 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm not sure what we're going to hear. Let's go. We'll go up from 10. We might hear stuff up in here. I tune very slowly. So we're coming into a short wave band now. What's happening? The string is wrapping over itself down here. I got problems with the string. Okay, so that sound is a whole bunch of ham radio guys. Well, at least one anyway. That's what that is. And that's down around 7.2. It's probably 7070. It's probably 7070. That's a ham radio operator. It's another one.
Vamos a concretar. Damos acusa a Tres Patines de haberle pedido 500 pesos por devolverle a su esposa.
Prefiero callar, doctor, que me va a salir mejor.
¿Qué quiere decir usted con eso?
Chico, lo que pasa es que no me...
Well, that's probably Radio Marti, which is an American government radio station broadcasting its message to Cuba. And personally, I believe it's really all about people in Florida. So now this is WWV. This is 8 megahertz. WWV, 8 megahertz. That's very odd. It's surprising to even hear this.
CHU, Canada.
Ah.
Coordinated Universal Time.
Okay.
13 hours, 52 minutes.
The French part faded out. So what we're listening to is not WWV. We're listening to the Canadian version of WWV, which is called CHU, Canada. It's transmitting from Ottawa. Ottawa is about 350 kilometers from here, something like that, 400 kilometers. So this is a ground wave, I'm pretty sure, and the actual frequency is, you know what? Yeah, the actual frequency is down here. 7.333 is where this actually is occurring. So the local oscillator is not accurate, or the what did I just do to the radio? Oh, I must have retuned it by fiddling with that. Yeah. So no, that's surprising. I haven't heard 7333 for quite a while. I usually pick it up at 333. 3.33. Okay, that's a good, nice, sensitive radio. Let's keep going. Volume's right up full. So this is either Radio Cuba, Radio Marti, Cuba. You said Cuba, that's not a guarantee that it's Radio Cuba, though. It could easily be Radio Marti. So the AVC, automatic volume control or automatic level control, is not very effective in this radio. You see me running for the volume control. It's a good strong signal. It gives us a chance now to hear the radio itself.
En la banda de 31 metros. La radio de WLC prepara un pueblo para el pronto del San.
We're still operating with only 92 volts. Let's give it the full works on this.
WBCQ, Monticello, Maine.
Well, so much for what I said. Here we go. Full volume, full voltage here. The hum changed entirely in the speaker. Didn't really like it, what I heard. The quality of the hum changed entirely. Brother Stare, where'd Monticello go? Did they go off the air? Right in the middle of me doing that? So Monticello, Maine is not as far away as, it's just in New York State, which is maybe 400 or 500 kilometers from here. I'm not really sure. But it wasn't Radio Marty, I was fooled. Okay, onward. Shortwave's been really good this last few days. Especially like a later afternoon or mid-afternoon. Oh, what's that? Ooh, what's happening there? That doesn't sound like something being received. Sounds like an oscillation going. Maybe a bad, dirty capacitor or something? That'd be my guess. The capacitor is rubbing right in there. Holy! Okay. Ring out a radio that farts. Maybe one of these buttons is marked fart. Push it and it goes here and you get fart sounds. Wow, that'd be great at a party, wouldn't it? Who did that? Wow, somebody better go to the hospital. Holy smokes. Whatever that problem is, I should leave it because, boy, this is a fun radio at that point. Okay, anything else to spy, fool around with, check? You notice that the front of all these buttons are broken, it looks like. There's some kind of a ledge or an edge, and they're all smashed off. Like, I wonder what would do that. So most of them are loose. I'm going to leave them all loose because loose means they won't be working. I guess those bands, I don't want those bands to be working in there. So this means you can tune the radio. No, they still move around. Yeah, I don't know about those things. Okay, switch off here. One last look at the magic eye. Oh my gosh, look at that. Glad I looked at it. It's 40%. That looks like 100%. Let's tune something in now. Is this safe for me to hold and touch other stuff? Yep. See, right there, you don't hear anything. But there's something going on in the radio, right in here. I suspect it's an oscillation, unmodulated, so nothing comes out of the speaker. Now there was that other weird spot. Not going to show up now, of course, because I'm holding the eye. We got to get some short wave going. Let me. What am I going to do with this eye? What can I do with the eye? I put it here. Put it somewhere where it's still visible. What about just hanging it over the front here? Yikes. Okay, there we go. Okay, got it hanging. Right with this light blasting out here. Okay, I can calm down the light a little bit. I can't get it out of its socket right now. Do that. I'll calm it down just a little bit. I don't know. And this other light. There. Okay, magic eye. So this is really glowing well. Even the dark part of the pie is glowing. So there's something funny about what's going on with this tube. And where's the station? Where'd it go? So I see no eye movement. Let's get that. Where's that stronger one? Oop, oop. Oh, scare the heck out of me. So I think what we're seeing is the ADC's not working right. And
So what's like ahead?
yeah, look at that. The Magic Eye is not responding. Yeah, something up with the ABC in this radio. Okay, I think we're ready to switch off now. But Magic Eye glowing like that, thumbs up in here. Okay, I think that's far enough for me to go right now. I sort of have a feel for what the situation is with the radio. I want to spend the day kind of thinking about it and planning how I want to approach this. And tomorrow I start work on it. Great thing is, when you get it working like this, obviously, chance of excellent success is really high with this radio. So, fantastic. Thanks a lot for watching this first video, and I'll carry on tomorrow.